Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about waiting for rescue. This is something that's been on my mind this week. It's a problem that I've had for all my life. In some ways, I've gotten a lot better because wrapped up in waiting for rescue is waiting for permission. When I was younger, like in my late teens, and I was on my own, I would try and get permission to go buy groceries for myself, which is crazy. Unless you grow up the way I did, then it doesn't seem so crazy, and you can probably relate to that. When you grow up and your actions can be punished if you don't do something perfectly, or you do something that somebody doesn't agree with for whatever reason, it starts to really mess with your head. It sets you up for a lot of failure in your adult life. You become a person that needs permission for everything, and you learn that you cannot act on your own, that you do not have agency, that you need someone to rescue you. And that's probably not going to happen. It didn't happen to me. What I learned when I was young was that I really I was not supposed to really ask for things. And I was not supposed to complain. I was just supposed to put on a pleasant face and be quiet. And so when I was suffering and hurting, I developed a way of trying to get help, which was crazy, but when you live like I do, you develop all these crazy coping mechanisms. And basically what I learned was that if I suffered enough, someone, probably my mom, would eventually notice and maybe do something about it. And so unconsciously, I learned that I had to suffer more. Like if I was not getting the help I needed, if I was hurt by something, if someone was hurting me, if I was upset about something, if I physically needed something, I couldn't just say what I needed. I had to be quiet and wait for someone to notice and then maybe do something about it. I couldn't do anything about it. Like I couldn't speak up. I couldn't take action to try and fix it. I had to just sit there and be quiet and wait. And that really set me up for failure as an adult, because when you become an adult, nobody's going to come save you. But you think that's the only way that you're ever going to get help. The reason that I became that way was because I was taught, I learned that if I ever made a mistake, if I ever did something without asking for permission, then I was going to be punished. And the punishment could be really severe. And I just basically learned that either I didn't do what I wanted to do or needed to do, or I tried my best to sneak around and get that need met somehow. Even to this day, sometimes around food, I'll, have this feeling of I need to sneak and I need to eat this quickly and hope that nobody notices. I have a lot of anxiety around doing anything for myself, really. Growing up this way causes a person to shut down inside. it's not the only thing that can do this, and probably other mitigating factors play into becoming this way, but they all kind of work together. And when you have a life where you have these needs that are not being met, and you can't express any sort of displeasure about it, then you learn to just basically shut down and dissociate. Now, some more severe dissociation probably comes from other abuse, but it just all works together. And I can remember just sitting there in the floor, alone, playing with my toys, and just basically in a really shut down, zombie-like state. And just, that was what kept me safe, right? I mean, I had no way of surviving, of tolerating it, so I just shut down. Something else you might do is you begin to fawn. So, I mean, you might start to try and make these people that have all this power over you like you, and so you fawn. There's so many coping strategies wrapped up in all this. But the thing is that you didn't choose this, but that's not how people interpret it, and that's not how they look at it. People look at you as lazy or being a baby, right? Like, man up. But you didn't choose to be this way, and I certainly don't choose to be this way to this day, but you can't just shut it off. And so you learn, well, you basically start to have all this shame wrapped up in it. You just become a very shame-based person. You look at how other people are. They're living their lives, doing things, making money, getting a job, starting a family, having a house. And here you are waiting for someone to give you permission to go get those things, or waiting to come rescue you and help you with all these things because you can't go do them yourself. And so you have this horrible life where you're alone. I guess I want to say this, is that if you relate to this, you're not a bad person, you're not a lazy person, you're not a spoiled person. You are an abused, traumatized person that is trying to do their best, that tried their best when they were younger. But you have this adaptation, this learned behavior, this conditioned behavior that is very hard to break, because any attempt to break it results in tremendous anxiety, because it goes against everything that you ever learned growing up. Because acting on your own meant danger. It meant pain. And so trying to relearn that as an adult in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, it's not easy. You could think of it as kind of an addiction in a way. That's what it sort of feels like to me, is that what I've been noticing, and like I said, I've worked on this all my life, but lately I have zero support. I'm just alone all the time in my car where I live. And I keep noticing in myself this part of me that whenever anything goes wrong, they think, okay, well, how am I going to get somebody to help me? The thoughts are not, how do I help myself, but how do I find someone else to give me permission to do what I need to do? How do I get someone to come here and help me? So I think that's a big part of starting this, is just noticing that come up in yourself. Noticing that part of you that whenever something starts to go wrong, they start to instantly think about those types of thoughts. And I think that what comes next, at least what I'm noticing in myself, is that you start to feel these feelings of, what I'm noticing is like, I want to be sad, I want to grieve. And I'm not able to do that just yet, but I think that these two things combined are probably going to be the path towards breaking this. Just noticing it inside yourself, and then allowing yourself to feel the emotions, the grief, the loss, the pain of it all. And yeah, what comes next, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll talk about that when it happens, but for right now, that's kind of where I am. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today, and that's basically the end of the video, but I'll say this. I'm trying, I've done all these videos on the channel, and I want to try and be more consistent, and I've got an idea of how I'm going to be able to do that, and basically I'm going to do like a topic, and I'll talk on it, and instead of writing a script and doing all this editing and stuff, I'm going to try and be a little more relaxed with it, so it might not be as polished, but hopefully maybe in some ways it'll be a little more polished. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll say this too, is I do need help. I know that the topic of this is about waiting for rescue. But in a way, like, this is me trying to take action and also to ask for help rather than just sitting in silence, hoping that somebody notices. So I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, and I'll leave a link below. And if this was helpful to you and you're able to help me in some way, then I would be very grateful for that. But I hope this video was helpful to you, and I wish you luck. And if this was useful to you, then maybe subscribe, and I'll keep making some videos, and hopefully we can find an answer to all this, because this way of life is horrible. I mean, it just destroys your life. And there's got to be answers to this. And I think that slowly but surely, a lot of people are coming together, sharing their experiences, sharing their knowledge. And little by little, we're starting to figure this out. Even within the past 10 years, I've seen a lot of knowledge and progress and advancement in this, and I think there is hope. So just take it a little bit at a time, be patient with yourself, and know that you're not alone in this, that there's lots of people, myself included, trying to work on this, find solutions. But anyway, I've rambled enough. Have a good day.